Shabbat Shalom. So after many times of telling folks that told me, oh, Rabbi, you should watch Stitzel on Netflix. I said, we're watching The Mandalorian. Oh, Rabbi, you should watch the Stitzel, it's on Netflix. Oh, we're watching Falcon and Winter Soldier. After countless repetitions of that, Jill and I have started watching Stitzel. And it's wonderful on watching it. It's really quite an amazing show. One of the phrases you hear the Father Sholem say is that you shouldn't tell God your plans because God will then laugh, which you all have heard me say often over the course of time. It is the challenge of life sometimes not to telegraph what you're doing or what you're expecting, because usually when you have a lovely plan, it goes awry, as I've been valiantly searching for the proper batteries to be able to operate the electrical equipment that I so desperately don't really want to use on Shabbat, but sometimes find myself now using on Shabbat, but I think we're good. We'll see how long that lasts for. And I also say that because I spent my whole week facing different questions and challenges. Some of it is synagogue leadership stuff, and people would say, well, Rabbi, you have to solve this. And I said, the Torah portion this week is Bahar Bechukotai, because that's what I know. I'm a rabbi. I can tell you the Torah portion, but I can't figure out how to make world peace. Earlier in the car today, I was driving, and my son Nathaniel started asking me about the water tower on 58th Avenue. And I said, and he's like, is it city or is it county? How much water's in it? I said, Nathaniel, the Torah portion this week is Bahar Bechukotai. I don't know anything. He's like, maybe you saw something about, he's right. Maybe I tend to know facts about crazy and weird stuff. It wasn't odd that he asked me, but in this case, I felt good saying, I'm a rabbi, I don't know water towers, but I know the Torah portion is Bahar Bechukotai. Now, I share that with you because, ironically, after telling everyone that my best answer to any question they could offer is the Torah portion this week is Bahar Bechukotai, I am not going to talk to you about Bahar Bechukotai. It sounds like a lovely idea. There is plenty in Bahar Bechukotai to talk about, but in this case, I wanted to do something a little different. And I do that because this is a new stage of the world. We are entering a different phase of life. May it continue forward from this point as we welcome people back into our sanctuary. But even as I say that, what I'm about to share, I think, is vital and important no matter where you are watching our services from. And so I ask, actually, if we can pull the PowerPoint back up. Because what you see projected for you is a little piece of, and I don't know whether it's keva or kavanah. Keva is the form or structure. It's the concrete stuff. It's the music on the pages. Kavanah is how you do it. It's the intention. It's the way you bring the music to life. And this is a little bit of keva and a little bit of kavanah. What it is a reflection of a section later in the book of Numbers that we'll be starting next week from Parshat Balak, where you have this amazing story of Bilam or Balaam, the prophet. He's not Jewish, gets hired by the evil king Balak. Balak is worried about the people of Israel coming towards him. He hires Bilam to curse the people of Israel. Bilam does ride out on a donkey. The donkey sees an angel with a flaming sword and turns aside, crushing Bilam's foot. Bilam gets mad, smacks the donkey, and the story continues to go downhill from there. Eventually, as Bilam gets more and more frustrated with the donkey, smacking the donkey, calling the donkey names, the donkey, remember, the donkey, Bilam's the prophet who's supposed to be a spokesperson for God. The donkey's the one that sees the angel with the flaming sword. You see the problem there, or you see the juxtaposition there? And it's the donkey finally looks at Bilam, and the donkey speaks. I don't think he used Eddie Murphy's voice, but that would be touching if you are a fan of the movie Shrek. But the donkey says, why do you keep hitting me? I've always been good to you. I've always taken care of you. Maybe there's a great reason that I'm turning you and walking you into walls. And Bilam's, what could it be? And then God says, oh, look, here, there's an angel with a flaming sword about to kill you. And God looks at Bilam and says, now do you get it? You're going to say what I tell you to say, not what you think you want to say. And so Bilam follows through. There are a bunch of other adventures. They don't have a talking donkey, so they're not quite as exciting. It really is all about the talking donkey. This is, by the way, in the Torah. There really is a talking donkey in Torah. It's not just Shrek. And Bilam goes up onto a mountain, and he looks out at the people of Israel, and he says words that if you come to a morning service, should be very familiar. He says, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. You see them projected here for you. How good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. And so Bilam is going out. He's been hired to curse, and instead he blesses. And what do we say first thing in the morning? When we get up, we say, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov. We wake up, and you have a choice of which side of the bed you want to get up in the morning. And Jewish tradition says the first thing out of your mouth, make it a blessing. Right? It is an incredible, beautiful, powerful challenge and directive to us. And a few months ago, I had the pleasure of teaching Windows into Judaism, Introduction to Judaism class that we've done here for a few years, and we based it upon that text, that idea of Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov. And with that, what we did was I found this. There's a lot of text, there's a lot of commentary, a lot of incredible teachings about this moment of Bilam standing up and blessing instead of cursing, and about us when we're sitting in a sanctuary in the morning, how do we make sure blessing comes out and not curses? How do we find a way of bringing goodness and light and love into the words we say and not the criticism, or the ugliness, or the microaggression, or the kvetching forth into the world? And as I was preparing and sharing with this class, I came across this, which, by the way, these words that I'm projecting for you, this is in Mishkan Tefillah. It's been in the Siddur that I've used for quite a few years now. I had never seen it before, and it just happened to catch my attention. And it's absolutely beautiful and wonderful, and I think very appropriate for this Shabbat. It's very appropriate for Shabbat because as it is instructions, I'll share them with you in just a moment, instructions for how to enter this sanctuary. And I say that very deliberately because we enter all kinds of different sanctuaries. When you enter a sanctuary, this is a kavanah. This is words you can say and actions you can take in order to bring the right blessing with you into a sanctuary. When you see the synagogue from a distance, you say, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael. How good are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places is Israel. So you get out of your car, or you move from your kitchen to your family room. Upon arriving at the door, stop momentarily to arrange your clothes properly. And then you say the next phrase. These are words of Psalms. Through your abundant love, I enter your house. So think about those steps that you take to get to this place. As you walk up the walk, you're offering these words. Enter with dignity and awe, with vibration, bowing slightly towards the holy ark as you come in the door. And you say, I bow down at the awe of your holy temple. I love your temple, the abode, the dwelling place of your glory. So you walk in that door, you make sure you're all set, and then you come in and you say, wait, let me feel the awe. We have visitors here with us tonight. I was talking about the roof of our sanctuary, and it always strikes me. It's always so amazing to me to think about how many prayers have been uttered under this ceiling. And just the vibration. We talk about the beautiful acoustics of that room, of this room, and I wonder how much those prayers that are into the ceiling and into these walls are part and parcel of the beautiful acoustics we have. So we have these three steps of walking out, of praising, of getting our clothes together, of stepping in awe. You walk in a bit and you bow again and say, I will humbly the eternal one who has made me. So we come in feeling vibration, and then we also feel our humility, our modesty, the brokenness of human body, the fact that we don't get to walk everywhere we want at the speed we want all of the time. And then finally, and it says here, if it's a weekday, leave some tzedakah for the poor. As much as you can afford, concentrating within yourself and say, here I stand ready and willing to perform this commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. And then you may pursue to love God. I love, it's just a simple instruction. We can adapt them for what works for you, but how beautiful, how incredible to have steps and stages modeled after our morning liturgy. We don't just show up and sing the songs because they're pretty. We don't just read the words that are familiar. How do we take the words and set them into action? And here are these incredible, beautiful, powerful instructions that from the moment you get in your car, you're arranging yourself, body and spirit, opening your hand and opening your heart and opening your eyes, ready to engage the divine and to enter into that sense of sacred community. It's my hope that as people come into our sanctuary, come to join us, whether it's for Shabbat or holidays or presentations, whatever it might be through, that we have these words in mind. We have these rituals and we find a way, each in our own way, to do them. To look at this place that is our community, to walk in with that sense of reverence, to understand our own vulnerability, to share some of our light and love, to be here in this place. Now, I say that and I couch that and realize I'm saying that here because there are some people that are physically present. But I also say it in this way. And I also say it with emphasis, looking very much into the camera, because you all are not physically here, and yet you're very much physically here. Because the power and beauty of these services that we create is getting both of those, that sense of community to mesh together. Whether you are physically present in the sanctuary or you are present with us via the internet. It's all community together. And one of the ways that we can do that sense of shalom, getting all of our disparate parts to feel whole and together and complete, is by realizing that no matter where we are, whether you are in Toronto or in California or sitting here in our sanctuary, these words, these acts, that sense of how do I take step by step, ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, thinking about the beauty of community together, of feeling the awe of this place, of arranging our clothes, of coming in humility and modesty, finding those steps, using these words that we can march into this place, whether it's physically present or together with us on your screen, that we can be present together by bringing that kavanah and that keva to life. It's a challenge. It is hard to do it every time, because you might be, who am I going to see? Is my internet going to work? Does my microphone work? Am I going to be able to hear? Am I going to be able to chat? Whether it's here or it's here, in both places we have all of those challenges, like Bil'am on his donkey rushing to get to that place where he's supposed to do that work. Can we be, and very rare in my rabbinate I get to say this, can we be more like the donkey? Slowly and carefully thinking of the ways that we can be with each other and protect each other. That's the first part, because there is that challenge of finding that rhythm and being able to come together. But there's a second part of this that I wanted to make sure that I emphasized on this Shabbat. Because it has been a struggle in this year of COVID-19 to feel like a community. It is hard when you're only on Zoom, when you're doing a lot more talking. I got to see people who haven't really seen each other in a year, get to see each other. They might not be able to smile, but at least they got to say hello and rub elbows. It has been really, really hard. And that is why I offered the second piece, because I'm talking about Bilam up on the mountain and his blessing instead of cursing. And yet, there's something else. What about the people of Israel? Because that's us, right? We are the people of Israel down in that encampment, and there is Bilam talking about us. And what does he say? Ma tovu ohalach Yaakov mishkanotecha Yisrael. Why is Bilam talking about how good their tents are? And he does it for a very important reason, the rabbis teach. The rabbis teach that everybody's houses were arranged in, or their tents were arranged in such a way that they didn't look into the entrances of each other's tents, and yet they were able still to call out to each other and remain in community. That even as they were together as a community, they still found ways to give space, to give security, to give safety, to give respect to each other. To say every Israel has to move together, and yet we also as a community can find a way that we can each move in our own way and yet then be a community together. And that to me is our challenge moving forward. I can tell you, like Bilam, use these words to walk into the sanctuary in this way, but I think into the sanctuary. The second piece of it I offer to you tonight is to have that image of what Bilam was talking about what sacred community means, about what caring community means. How do we reach out to each other? How do we listen for each other? How do we make sure we give everybody space to move in their own way and yet still find ways of moving together? That is our challenge, Temple Beth Shalom, as we move forward, as we start to find each other more physically present and gathering together. That is our challenge. How do we create that sense of caring community? The one that is our ideal, the one that Bilam praised. What is each one of us going to do? Who to reach out to? What activity to find and bring a friend to? What caring call to make? What challah to deliver? There are so many little incredible ways that we can build that community that Bilam praised so long ago, and that right now, in this day and age where there is so much pulling us apart, finding that way to draw together, to care for each other, to spread our light and love together. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im, shevet achim gam yachad. Let us, in this new era of our congregation, truly find ways of sitting together, of being together, not just entering the sanctuary together, but creating sacred and caring community together. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.